Hello and welcome to Comment Below, a podcast where we talk about the news and topics of the week, but more importantly, what has been commented below. We delve into the mess that is our social media, finding the stories you may or may not be talking about. Isn't that right, Ben?
That is correct, Alex. We've got end of the world. We've got funny video messages. We've got angry people in newspapers. What more could you ask for?
Just sums up really, doesn't it? I mean, why would you listen to any other podcast? Just delete any of your subscriptions and just subscribe to us here at Comment Below. Yeah. That's what you need to do. And you can do that very easily. You can find us on X at Comment Below Pod, Instagram at Comment Below _pod. You can email us any of your stories that you may find in some of your local papers. I am doing a big shout out for anyone who can find a good, funny story from their local newspaper. I look on local websites quite often, and I see numerous funny stories. It's just that unfortunately they get trumped by other stories as we go along. But if you can find something that literally makes me laugh out loud, then I would love it. commentbelowpod@gmail.com. Don't forget you can watch this podcast if you prefer on YouTube. Just search Comment Below Podcast or BAM Productions on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and follow us, and you can then comment below underneath the video. Or if you're listening to us on your favourite podcast app, don't forget to subscribe. And if you like listening to the podcast, don't forget to give us 5 stars and the reasons for why you've given us those 5 stars. Before we start, actually, I just want to say, but when I was sitting here just reading through my introduction, I felt like that the introduction was a bit meh. I feel like 20 episodes in, I feel like I need, well, more than that, because we did the Christmas one as well.
Yes, 40 episodes, and if you include Christmas.
I feel like that it's a bit meh. So that may update next week, just so you know. Just keep if you're not subscribed, that's a reason to subscribe too, to hear the new intro. Just listen to the intro and stop.
You've said it now, so.
I know, I'll probably get to next week when we start recording, and I'll think, oh, damn it, I haven't even started thinking about it.
Quick chat GPT. Work's done, please.
No, see, you do that for everything. You do that for every single little thing. If you ever need to do anything, you literally let it do the back-breaking work for you.
No,
Me,
I don't.
I'm just always doing it out of my own mind. I'm a creative kind of. I'll do it for myself.
That's why it's a bit meh.
And that's why it's crap, yeah, because I did it. If we got ChatGPT to do it, it probably would be a hell of a lot better.
No, we've experienced that with our Christmas movie that it made for us, haven't we? So
that was amazing. Our Hallmark Christmas movie. We asked ChatGPT to write for us.
Yep.
It was amazing. We had story, we had plot, we had peril. Yeah. It was fantastic.
Right, so opening this episode then, just a little casual thing. I've been seeing my favourite, obviously, I see things on TikTok. As I'm scrolling at sort of the early hours of the night, as the moon is full in the background, shining on my face. I'm in my bed with my phone, and
you're trying to prove that you don't use ChatGPT to write things for you now. You're being as descriptive as possible. As my sheets ruffle, like a cat jumping onto the bed and trying to find a soft space to sit between my legs. Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen these videos, but people, mainly Americans, have been
surprisingly
eating snow and making meals, like little puddings out of snow.
Right. I mean, it's not a new thing, because I remember when we kids used to have a thing called Mr. Frosty. I know it wasn't snow, it was chipped ice.
Yes.
I get it. It's not
clean water.
And it's clean. I get that. But I suppose it's not necessarily a new thing.
No.
If they've added like a flavoured syrup to water. Because essentially that's what it is. It's just water.
Yeah, but it's gross.
But it's gross. It's
These videos,
it's fresh water.
They're literally going outside, like picking like the snow from their car or from the ground, putting it in a bowl, taking it inside. They put like condensed milk in it and then like a caramel syrup flavour, swish it all around, and then they start eating it.
Why are they putting condensed milk in it? I don't
It's something like that.
Exactly, cream. I suppose it makes sense.
It's just disgusting. And like people comment like, you should put that in a glass, let it melt, and then see what colour the water is. And it's going to be brown. It's going to be full of all sorts of stuff because it's come from the sky all the way down, collected everything it has as it comes. It's just weird.
But this is the nation.
And lots of people have been doing it.
This is the nation that decided that eating a laundry detergent pod was also a smart thing to do for clicks.
Even Reese Witherspoon had a TikTok I saw where she was doing it.
Wow, Reese.
How
dare you?
You know, you're a multimillionaire. I think you can just buy Mr. Frosty.
Just buy Mr. Frosty. She could buy an actual proper a snow globe, or what do they call them? Snow. It's not really a thing in the UK. We have like slush puppies,
yeah,
which aren't really the same thing, but they have a thing where you literally get like a scoop of ice and you put it in a snow cone. You put it in a cone, hence the name, and then you put like a flavoured fruit syrup on top, like cherry or
snow and that ice isn't the same though, is it? And that's why you can only get it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's
gathering.
It's an actual thing, but no, I wouldn't just gather snow.
It just makes me feel so sick when I watch them.
The only thing is, if you took a top layer of snow, maybe just took that top layer.
That's what Reese Witherspoon did.
Well, that's what I mean.
Someone did it, and there was like a twig in it. I was like, "Are you not going to pick that out?"
That's a spoon.
She just put it in the bowl.
You just get the twig and it's like a
even if you take even if you take the top layer though, if you actually melt it down, look under a microscope, it's got loads of shit in it. It's disgusting
because it's been absorbed from the ground into the sky and then thrown back down into the earth
through everything.
Yeah, I learned that from geography when I was a kid.
It makes me feel sick. So that was traumatizing. This
I don't know. I'm trying to think. Right, because like before, like I suppose you boil the water to kind of get rid of the contaminants, don't you? But like before, like we had running water from a tap.
Right.
You know, when we used to live in Doomsday. Yes, which we'll get to in a second. When we used to accuse women of being witches because they were slightly empowered.
Love it.
A golden era. It's Jacob Rees-Mogg wishes we were back there. We rode on penny farthings. You must have kind of just saw snow, thought, oh, this is a source. You know, all the rivers are frozen.
Yes. And then
drink them.
The death rate was mid-30s. Was old age.
That's true. That's true.
That's the reason.
From sickness.
Did you know that's why people are suffering with grieving more in modern day than they used to? Because
you said something about this before.
Because it used to be normal, like your parents would die like 35, 40, and that was normal, and you spent less time with people, and death was more normalised. Whereas now, they live to like, 100, 105?
Too long.
And that's why you're so attached, and grief is so hard now. So,
what are we going to do then? We can't survive if the cat gets sick, and he's like what, 12 years?
I know.
And we're having a breakdown considering what our options with him. Producer Charlie, I should mention, as our producer, our cat / producer.
But he's not here today. He's in the other room.
He's been off work the last couple of weeks because he's not feeling too well. So he's
It's been a long few months.
It has for him. He's gone from being, I said this to you, he's gone from being a cat it seems to have happened like almost overnight. Like he's gone from being a bright, he knows we're talking about him. He's coming now. He's gone from being, here he comes. You're telling us off for talking about you on the show. Yes. He's gone from being like a bright-eyed, kind of like young-looking, youthful cat to, as we just saw him, slowly walking across the floor, fur looking a bit scraggly, sitting by his water bowl, staring into space. Oh, I can't, my heart.
It's just horrible. Right.
Anyway, so
let's keep things happy and then talk about our first subject.
The Doomsday Clock. So a nice upbeat second topic to talk about. So every year they have a doomsday. The
group of scientists.
Well, they're called they are actually a thing. I think they're called a group. The opinion of the members of the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists.
Scientists.
And they get together every year and they decide how close human existence is to basically mass annihilation. Normally through self means, which in this case is the case. Basically.
Yeah, it's like war, climate change, and I think recently they've added AI into it, which is what I saw.
Well, because AI, there's a lot of danger about AI because AI could potentially kind of be our overlords and take over the world.
If the world still exists in a few years, read my book, Divided, because that's what it's about.
Every episode there's a plug. So it's kind of gone back and forth, the Doomsday Clock. When the Doomsday Clock was first kind of introduced, it was at quite close because it was, I think, 1943 it was first introduced. So we were like in quite deep into the Second World War. But it's kind of gone back and forth. I mean, the best...
Yeah, they add minutes, take away minutes, seconds every year, don't they?
This is an interesting fact I found out because it used to be only counted as minutes, but as of before 2017, it used to move to minutes. But then since 2020, it started to move in seconds. So now it's because we're so close to midnight, which is when Doomsday is.
They've got to keep dragging it out, haven't they?
Because they need a reason for existence. They need to keep getting the funding. So they're now moving it to seconds. But I think more the case is the fact that basically they feel like we're getting so close now to danger that we're in trouble. The best we ever had it, according to these scientists, was in 1991 when the Cold War had ended between America and Russia, and it was like 17 minutes to midnight. They were the heady days. 17 minutes to midnight. You could have gone out, taken a knee, did some raving, got home, watched some Teletubbies, watched Sesame Street. I don't know what happened in 1991. I was still too young to understand. But
it all went downhill a few years later in 95 and then 98. It's just not good.
But then nuclear war started to be discussed in 2023, between Russia and Ukraine. There was the climate crisis starting to be introduced in 2015. Nuclear weapons were becoming modernized in that era too. And the minute hand slowly started creeping closer and closer toward midnight, to the point that we are now 90 seconds to midnight. This is the closest we've ever been since it was established, as I said to you, since it was established in 1947. This is the closest we've ever been to doomsday.
It's sad, isn't it? Because we're kind of like, very generally speaking, we're like at the most peaceful time.
No, we're not. We're nowhere near the peaceful time we used to be.
In the greater history of things, I mean, like at the moment, like more countries are not at war than.
I think more countries are slowly becoming more at war. South America is slowly just crumbling through extreme regimes and also drug clientele. Drug groups are really starting to take over and govern through indirect means, through the political means. By
the UK wants to recruit an army for unknown reasons. Don't know why.
Well, it's funny that, because it's the gammons that. Sorry, I shouldn't use that term so loosely, but like it's a lot of people
red meat.
Well, it's a lot of people who were young enough that their parents would have been conscripted, but they weren't conscripted because it was then eliminated in the UK. But they're the ones who are kind of encouraging and saying, "Oh, young people, snowflakes, too soft to fight for our country, our king and country." And it's like, you never had that opportunity to do it either. You could have joined the army at any point you wanted to, but you're criticising young people for not wanting to. Shush, please.
That posh knobhead from The Apprentice a few years ago was on, I think he was on GM Good Morning Britain the other day, and he was saying, "Oh yeah, it should be done." And it's like, he's too old to do it.
Which one? Who's that?
He's like the posh one with like...
What, one of the advisors?
No.
Never
one of the
Nick.
contestants. No, he was a contestant.
Oh, he's just trying to do the
male Katie Hopkins.
Katie Hopkins.
Yeah.
He's just trying to do... He saw Katie Hopkins talk nonsense, and then he just decided he was going to go down the same path. Who's the one we love? Excuse me?
Tom Mike Parry.
Yeah. What's he keep saying?
Okay.
He was on GB News, branting his little face off, his little squished off face about like having like, again,
They should do it. It will toughen them up. The guy from The Apprentice, the posh guy, he was like, it will stop people being woke. It's like, sorry.
Why doesn't he then? How old is this posh guy from The Apprentice?
I think he's too old for it, isn't he?
Well, I'm sure he is. So he's happy to stand on the boundary lines, pointing to other people to do something, but he's not happy to do it himself. If you're going to criticise someone for doing it...
Ryan Mark.
Oh, he's a prat. Well, he's 24.
23.
Oh, he's
24.
No, he'd be conscripted.
I thought it was up to 22.
I thought it was 29.
I think it was up to 20. He's 22.
Oh, so again, so he's just on the cusp. So yeah.
There you go.
Well, of course he is then. Yeah. Of course he is. He's like, what's the character from Blackadder Goes Forth, the one who stays with Stephen Fry because he knows that if he hangs around him, he won't have to actually do any of the war.
Don't know.
And then right at the very end, he then has to fight on the front line. Forget Darling. The character's name is Darling because the joke is he goes, "Hey, come on, Darling," because it sounds like it's his partner, his wife, or whatever. But yeah, it's ridiculous. It's like, why stop trying to like thinly veil your criticism over people by saying that they should do something when you know full well that you can't do the same thing. So that's ridiculous. But the Doomsday, there's many other things that's gone into this. There's bio threats. COVID-19 is still seen as a bit of a thing. There's the measles now spreading over Europe because yummy mummies don't want to get their little precious children.
I mean, the one good news about the Doomsday Clock is that the likelihood of it getting to midnight is actually very low. Because if we have it in
if it happens, we will never know.
Yeah, exactly. So, these scientists. Do you think one of them will survive and they'll just drag themselves to the clock and just go and push it as their final act of life?
Maybe.
And they'll push it to midnight. But yeah, it's very unlikely to actually get to midnight, sadly, everyone, because if it does, well, the world will be over, so we wouldn't know.
I must say, I misspoke, by the way. The closest the clock ever came to midnight was actually at the height of the Cold War in 1953, when it got to 2 minutes to midnight. So 11:59 11:58 p.m. So
we're now 90 seconds.
So this is now the closest it's ever been, 2024. I mean, I know what you're saying. I think it's because we live in a world, this very modern world, where like, you know, we have very free entertainment, free as in freedom of like watching a lot of entertainment. We got like it doesn't feel like we're in a kind of like a war-like situation. We're not in a captive media market where we're getting our news from only newspapers and a half-an-hour bulletin on TV in the evening. We're now getting 24-hour rolling news. So there's other things that we know about. There's other sources of news we can get information from. And so it doesn't quite feel like the same effect. Like the fear doesn't feel the same. Do you know what I mean? Like the fear-mongering doesn't quite feel the same because we're not getting a very narrow news feed, as nowadays you can get a very large spectrum of news feed. So that might be why you're not feeling the panic that these scientists must be feeling at the moment.
It's definitely panic, but you know, we've got 90 seconds, so enjoy your time.
Yes, this is the thing. This is what I was going to ask you. How do we look at this? Do we look at it as in prepare for danger?
Like the bunkered people in America who are like storing stuff, and
not just that, but like be ready, be wary, have guns hidden, be ready to like have to fight for the last grain of rice at the supermarket.
The trouble with the Doom is mainly nuclear war, isn't it? So really, nuclear war, you're kind of at the mercy of the radius.
Yeah, but only if it's the same as American Horror Story, when only the rich people get to find a bunker.
There you go.
And the Coven come along and start taking it over. But
spoiler.
Well, yes and no. It's been out for a while now. But
I'd quite like to see the end of the world, though, in a weird way, just to see what happens.
Why? Why would you like to see it?
Just to see it end.
But would you like to see the
end of the end
and
book.
Survive, or would you like to see the end and just die with
Either.
it? Or you'd like to survive with it? I don't.
Just to see, just curiosity.
No, it'll be really horrible, because then it literally would be, you'd literally see the worst of human civilization.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, it'd be fine. I'm part of it.
Just curious to see what it would actually be like. It would be interesting in a weird, morbid way.
Well, I mean, you could kind of watch it if you watch like the later series of Channel 5 Big Brother. That is the worst of human civilization condensed in television form. But it's I don't know, it's just it doesn't worry me, because like I said, I feel like there's a distance between me and the problems that they're discussing. You know, I'm this white British person who's living on a little island, and yes, we've got problems.
With a cat.
And with a cat that's deciding whether to drink water or not. But you know what I mean? It's like we have our own problems. Yes, there are greater problems, but I feel like that I'm kind of like I'm lucky enough that I don't have to worry about them too much. But then that's just me being in a position of privilege. There must be other people out there who are not in that position, and my heart is horrible. Like things that are happening around the world, and I don't want to get too deep into them because you can get yourself into trouble. And it's not me sitting on the fence, it's just me realizing that I don't want people coming at me. I just think that like we're very lucky where we are, but we should definitely be aware of how there must be solutions of how we can make that minute hand, that second hand, move maybe further away from that midnight bong eventually. I mean, my favorite thing in the whole wide world is when I was looking up this article, I found a picture of a 73-year-old man named Brian Salt, who basically said he was going to dismantle the climate change movement, and the picture is just perfect. And I mean, if Ben fancies popping it up on the screen, if you are watching this podcast, then it's worth having a look at, because I just think that just describes basically men and women who have lived in an era where they've had nothing but fair wages, being able to buy their own houses, had nothing but like being able to just have everything that they wanted in life, and now moaning because young people are complaining quite rightly for not having the same privileges as they were given.
Don't go to Costa.
I know, stop having avocado toast. Don't keep saying
easy. Right, so what's our next topic then?
Was it me again? Gosh.
It is.
Oh, goodness me. They're all me. Aren't they?
No, third one.
Third one's you. Okay, so the last one, the second one for me then, is that our old chum, our old mate, Rishi Sunak, was possibly encouraged by his party, because I feel like these are things that Rishi Sunak would rather not be doing. It's like having conversations with 50p Lee about like how he's going to chuck out the immigrants from his country and all that crap. So he basically on the Conservative social media team, we're encouraging people to have a personal message read out by Rishi Sunak, saying his views of what he thinks should happen with either immigration or trade or the economy or lower taxes. And he basically recorded a 1-minute video, but right at the beginning video, oh, there you go. Right at the beginning of the video, he says hi and then a name. And those bits, he recorded lots of different names. And people realised that and then decided to have people like Nigel Farage have a free message from Rishi Sunak, or Donald Trump get a free message. Jeremy Corbyn,
lots of spare time.
Yeah.
And Keir Starmer, and then they also edited the poster in the background to say, like, Keir Starmer's pledges and things, yes.
That was done on the Conservative website, so you could do that. So you filled in a form with the name and what the person you were sending it to's most concerns were, and then this video wasn't AI. This is the point, though. This is the thing we need to point out. This wasn't AI. This wasn't AI generated Rishi Sunak saying this crap. This is Rishi Sunak spending an afternoon on a sofa with a film crew repeatedly saying, hi Alex, hi Ben, hi Chris, hi Tom, hi Charlie, hi Sue, hi Barbara, hi Helen, and just doing lots and lots of different names. This is the man who's meant to be running this country, a country that is literally on its knees.
Doomsday.
90 seconds to doomsday. And he's decided that the best use of his time, the best use of our public money, we should say, because we're essentially paying him to do this.
Doing this, though, because he did that weird Home Alone thing on New Year's Eve or whatever it was, didn't it? Or Christmas Eve.
I mean, that's arguably...
That was weird.
It was weird, but arguably, at least you could kind of say, well, at least that was at the time, at least it was a one-off. But now he's, like you say, he keeps doing these random, stupid things.
No, remember when they released that weird rap as well, which was... There's loads of weird things he keeps doing.
What about the one when they edited together lots of things Rishi had done, and they had that guy who couldn't speak very well, like everyone was making fun of him because he kept saying the words weird?
I think that was the rap.
Was that the rap?
Yeah,
oh, okay.
I think that was.
I mean, it's the Tory party trying to be relatable to a younger voter, isn't it? That's what they're trying to do. And every single time they get to that hurdle, they fail to jump it. And if it's a steeplechase, they fall into the water. It's just absolute carnage. I don't know what the Conservative Party is trying. It's literally what a desperate party does. But here's an example.
Do you know what the next thing they're planning to get rid of Rishi? They're going to put Penny Mordaunt in as PM and give a 100-day promise to people to call an election after 100 days of her leadership to see how she does. Like, sorry?
What, a general election after 100 days?
But because they say give her 100 days, but why they can't just put her in? Do you know what I mean? It's ridiculous.
I'm not being funny, but they gave
Liz?
Yeah, Lizzie Truss.
If she actually got voted in by the actual members, this would just be them putting Penny Mordaunt. It's really odd.
They were voted in by the members. Having Penny Mordaunt just put into it isn't really much different if you think about it. Just because they were voted in by the Conservative members, it wasn't a general... That's like 2% of the general voting population.
They didn't even vote Rishi. Look at him now. So,
Well, what do you mean look at him now? He's just
he's Prime Minister and he didn't even win over Liz. Anyway, so this is the one that people had made for Nigel.
Hi Nigel, I just wanted to take a moment to wish you a very happy new year. Now, like you, I think immigration levels are too high. So I hope you know that today and every day throughout 2024, whether I'm working in my office in Downing Street or at home in Yorkshire, I will deliver for you.
Hi Nigel, at home in Yorkshire.
Okay. Yeah, so you can edit the poster. There's a thing on his laptop. You can do like a newspaper headline that you can all edit all for Nigel Farage and Dover and
but they do it
immigrants.
For you. You don't need to do it. They do it for you.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
At home in Yorkshire, in my heated swimming pool, but I can't afford to pay for any community swimming pools. That's just old school, I guess. I mean, if anyone's watching from outside the UK and just seen that for the first time, please let us know your thoughts of what exactly went through your head as you watched our Prime Minister making this video, which you can clearly see he's not even into doing, but he's been told to do it because the cool, young, hip social media team.
Yeah, he's
Tories.
desperate to get. He's desperate to try and be cool online, isn't he? They keep posting memes and stuff as well, and it's just like it's really.
Yeah, but they're all cringy. They're all just terrible. But a few comments from the Daily Mail website is where I found this, by the way, when I first started off. But anyway. Wally said, I bet there's plenty of people who want to tell the Tory MPs what a mess they have made of our country and how our towns and cities are unrecognisable. George said, if we're only able to send him a personalised message, then I might be interested, but I wouldn't want to receive one from him, even if you paid me. I mean, fair enough. It's just what's really, really annoyed a lot of people is the fact that he's meant to be our Prime Minister. He would do a better job trying to get re-elected in this general election. And I know people can say, oh, but there's only 3 hours. That's 3 hours of time that he could spend doing numerous other things to help this country.
And editing it and making a program to make videos.
No,
I'm not saying him, but still, that would still pay someone.
Well, that's the thing. You know, they're at the moment, they're slashing kind of like...
everything.
Well, they're slashing the people who work within the cabinet and this and the other. You know, these are people who are getting paid to do this. Surely could that not pay for another nurse? You know what I mean? Again, I know people will be saying, "Oh, with one nurse, what will that change?" It'll be like, but no, that's not what I mean. You know, just stop, please. Just do hard work. This is what it is. It's like the kids at school who don't want to do the hard work. They just want to do the easy stuff and get an easy C, rather than do the really difficult stuff and get themselves an A+. You know,
if your kid's not getting a C, look at him this morning. You doing their adverts from last week, are you?
Yes, I am. If Rishi Sunak's got a little sniffle in the morning, but look at him now. You know,
getting straight A's.
No, it's just frustrating.
Yes, well, soon there'll be an election.
Soon. That's like that.
At least we're not Donald Trump territory, so it's fine yet. So
I don't know. We came close with Boris. Some of the things. And don't forget, the UK government at the time didn't condone the storming of... They've still not condoned that. They've not to this day condoned the fact that they don't call it Parliament, do they? They call it Congress was stormed in America. I know it was 4 years ago. I know I should probably get over it.
I believe that's 4 years.
Yeah. Well, there's their election this year. And then the inauguration will be 2025. So it'll be 4 years from...
Talk about Doomsday. That clock will be ticking right up.
1 second to midnight.
With Donald. Right, so the last one very quickly, because we're near the end of our time. This was more of a compo-faced story where people go to the papers to sort of complain about mid/low annoyances. And this one is Uber Eats failed to deliver McDonald's order to a Swindon grandma. So there's a picture of her
Graceful.
Looking very upset. She has said that she ordered a McDonald's from Uber and they've refused to give her a refund, and it left her grandchildren crying for hours.
That's a quote. That's a direct quote. Crying for hours.
$33.94. By the way, everyone,
what did she buy? Let's guess what she must have been 2 Happy Meals.
Is it? Yeah, 2 Happy Meals, one for herself. But she got a note saying that the order may have been delivered about half a mile away from where she was, with a photo of the order. And she was like, well, that's not me. I mean, lots of people, the comments basically are saying there's more to this story that she's not saying, which is that she put the wrong address in, or her old address, and that's why it got delivered half a mile down the road. Maybe her address, not her, the one where she was staying with her grandkids. Maybe the other way around.
Well, that's a fair point.
Who knows? But, I mean, Uber are very stingy at giving refunds, because I had this recently.
When you ordered from Uber?
Yeah. And it was awful, and I said, no, I should have.
Damn it.
I wanted a refund, and they were like, okay, because I can't remember what was it. Something was really wrong with the order. I can't remember what it was. I think it was stone cold. It took like 2 hours to come. It was really weird. And the man was like, didn't come. He just stayed parked for for ages. And I was like, I want a refund. They were like, okay, we understand. Here's £2 refund. I was like, sorry? So this woman, what you need to do is not accept the £2 refund.
Right.
Publicly, and sadly you have to do this, publicly tweet one thing, then they get in touch with you, and then they send you a full refund. They say, this isn't usual, but we'll give you a full refund. So that's what you have to do, Grandma.
Well, she kind of has done it. She's publicly gone to the Swindon.
Well, they've not commented, have they?
But no, nor has McDonald's. Yet another culprit for these things, because McDonald's are pretty...
They were crying for hours because I promised them, and I had let my grandchildren down. I was so angry, because it's not the first time this has happened. So I'm thinking she's putting the wrong address in multiple times. Maybe she got a refund before. This isn't the first time it's happened.
She did say that she was told the food had been delivered and was sent an image of food on the back of a silver car. So God knows how wide frame this photo was taken. Like the delivery driver was like, woo, and took the photo. But yes, I mean, let's be honest. We've done it. we've kind of ordered something and realised the wrong address, you get in touch with the driver quick enough, they'll be like, oh, okay, no worries, and we'll come to your new address.
But you can't do that because they don't get paid for it, so I wouldn't do that either.
Oh, really? Oh,
You only get paid to where you're going to, half a mile down the road extra.
How cruel, how mean.
And then they probably won't leave a tip. But what made me laugh is at the end of this, she said that she wants a refund, and she also wants compensation for the stress that it's caused her and her family.
Of course she does.
And it's like that bit at the end, it's like, okay, this makes me question your legality here, because you want compensation from the stress caused, grandchildren crying for hours. It's like,
I mean, instead of like getting angry, this is another thing. Instead of getting angry, we can't speak of what she did. I mean, this alone makes me think that the Doomsday clock should be moved another 30 seconds from midnight.
True.
She could have just comforted her grandkids and just been like, I'm really sorry, a bit of a mess up. I don't know. I just feel like she's kind of like exaggerating it, as you said, a little bit.
Also, she's obviously done this before loads of times, so she might have like, she said this isn't the first time this has happened, so they've probably given her a refund before, and because people do this, they're like, I haven't got my order, get free food. And then the driver gets a strike on their thing, and then they lose their job, all because you want a free McDonald's. So you have to be wary. Just check the address, Grandma.
It did crack me up. This is very much first world problems, and it's again, this is what I mean by local newspaper stories. Please send us your local newspaper stories, because they're just so much fun. But the guy who reported on it for the Swindon Advertiser was called Zach Lewis, and in the comments, if you look, loads of people just say like, this must have been a real big day for you, Zach, to get this scoop. It's like one of those kind of like, you're
slow news.
Well, no, not just that. You know that Zach is a junior, like right at the bottom of the run of that newspaper. Like he's just finished his university degree. He's just got his first job at the Swindon Advertiser. He's gone into his boss's office, and they said, right, Zach, here's your first story. Grandmother didn't get Uber Eats delivery. Off you go. And he like, you can just imagine his like the inside. He's just gone, okay, fine, all right, I'm off then. I mean, people are quite also rightly kind of pointing out that there are bigger, problems in the world rather than a grandmother who didn't get her £25 McDonald's order. But I would also argue, and I'm not defending it, but I would also argue that, sometimes things like this is your biggest problem, and you just need to roll with it and let the local paper know.
But there's exaggerations going on by the crying for hours. A lot of people are picking up on that, being like crying for hours, rolling eyes face. I'm heartbroken for her. I hope they don't all starve. All very tongue in cheek.
Yes, as is my comments, to be fair.
The news is the news at the end of the day. So there you go.
Yep. It's sorry, I'm just reading some of the comments, and someone's put, in other news, water is wet. No, it's like
McDonald's isn't great anyway, so maybe you did a favour.
I'm not being funny, but if you order a McDonald's on a delivery app, if it comes hot, then that is a one hell of a surprise anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, it never comes warm. And even if you go to a McDonald's restaurant, like if you get, you're onto a good thing if you see that you've just heard the chip fries just finished cooking, and they're literally taking the scoop out of the oil, throwing it into the basket, putting the salt on top, scooping the chips, putting it in the thing, putting it on your tray. This is a magical moment.
They still turn cold in 40 seconds. But...
No, I've gone into a McDonald's before and had just because I had a thing about McDonald's chips. I thought they were the nuts for a long time. Some
dipped in milkshake, yeah.
I can't have a milkshake.
No, but they're good.
But so I would leave with this hot chip and this bag of hot chips. It would burn my hand because I'm holding it underneath, and I'd open it.
Right. You eat it. You're trying to prove you're a writer now.
You open it and you take it, and it's salty and it's warm and it's delicious.
That's a chip, yes.
But then,
you sound like Jane McDonald.
I do. But in other occasions, we should talk about that actually. One episode, how Jane McDonald
describes things.
Jane explaining. We'll talk about
that's what you've done the whole thing.
Yeah, so basically what I'm saying is it's nice surprise when you get a hot meal from McDonald's. Right. So thank you for watching or listening if you have indeed. Don't forget you can get in touch with us with any of your ideas for us to talk about and comment below. If you want me to talk about Jane splaining, I'm more than happy to do that next week. Just go to email commentbelowpod@gmail.com, Instagram @commentbelow_pod, or X @commentbelowpod. As I say, you can find us on YouTube by to watch the video form of this podcast. Just search Comment Below Podcast or BAM Productions, and you'll find us there. Don't forget to ring the bell, subscribe, and comment below. You can also find us on any of your favourite podcast apps, and don't forget to subscribe on that as well. And if you enjoy listening to the podcast, don't forget to give us 5 stars and comment below with 5 words or less why you love listening to the podcast. We really do appreciate your love and your sharing, so please do tell your friends.
Right, so as we do every week, we're going to end with a Facebook mum quote of the week. This, I get these so readily available to me. I never run out. So this week it is, forget all the bullshit and drama and live your life with a sexy smile on your face. Until next week, goodbye.
Cheerio, chaps.